Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin.
I'm Tarsha.
And this is, of course, Conversations with the Crawleys, where we have conversations about faith, family, relationships, and reviews, commentary of some of our favorite shows. This one is all about the latest episode of Ready to Love, which we just finished watching here on the West Coast out in the PHX in Phoenix. And it's New Year's Eve, so we thought, listen.
Happy
New Year to everybody. As you're coming in, hey, Living Masterpiece, good to see you. As you're coming in, you know what to do. Definitely hit that share button. Let your friends, family, and even your enemies know, because we're going to have some conversation as we talk about Ready to Love and kind of what else is there to talk about.
Right?
New season of Married at First Sight is about to start up, and stuff is happening over on that side too. So, but we wanted to just kind of kick it off and start our commentary. And
hey, you know, the year is ending. We got the finale that's going to be, well, they still got to make the decision next week in the new year.
Yeah.
So, but tonight we had to meet the family.
Which, here's how I feel about the meet the family. I think we've talked about this. I think it's not necessarily the right thing for this show for where these folks are. Because, and we'll get into it, because it's almost like some of the families looking like, oh, you about to propose? You want my daughter's hand in marriage? Is that what we're going? And that's not where they're at, right?
No.
So that's where they're meeting and we're talking about. We start off with a couple of things. First of all, you know, they're in the ladies' lounge. Tommy tells them, you know, go check out, meet with the family. Sydney meets at her apartment in Tyson, Virginia, I think is where I found it was.
Right.
Her mom and her dad.
Stepdad.
Yeah. And
they show up with
Phil.
The dogs. We got to have the whole family. We had to have the dogs. We had to have the mom and the stepdad. I was like, okay, we're coming strong. We're deep.
And even the lower third, the caption said that one of the dogs was like Sydney's brother.
Yeah. We own a dog, but I'm not
putting that dog on the level with my kids.
It's no sibling.
Not happening.
Shout out to all the dog lovers out there.
That dog is not my child. It may work in that household, in the Crawley household. My dog is my dog. He stays on the lower level of our house. He goes out in the backyard, handles his business.
The first level. Don't think that he gets the dog underground.
Right. He's on the first level of the house. He doesn't come upstairs to the bedrooms and any of that.
Oh my God.
My dog, and plus my dog's too big for me to carry around. I'm sorry. My dog is 85 pounds.
Right.
Yeah. He's a big dog. His name is Prince, and he is funky. Listen, the glasses. Listen, we're looking, actually trying to get some connections so that you all that are looking at glasses, place that Tarsha has, the hookup we're going to try and get, so we can get you all a discount there.
I got a couple more coming.
Yes.
For 20.
She got some other glasses coming. So listen,
stay tuned.
Stay tuned. She'll have that for you all. So they meet with the mom and stepdad, and mom is.
What? Mom is being mom.
She being mom, yes.
She got her laptop.
Yes.
You know, she, me and Phil, we get gifts.
Yeah.
So we came correct with the gifts,
he did
right?
He came. In fact, here's the thing. If you notice, right, he brought the red roses for Sydney. He gave the white roses to Sydney's mom.
You and these flowers and colors.
Well, I mean, if you remember, was it last season with Jason and Liz?
Yes.
Jason and I go back and watch some of those clips. I had an issue with it because Jason gave Liz white roses just like he gave his mom and his stepmom. And I said, that's a red flag for me. That's something that doesn't seem to make sense. You're giving the flowers, the same type of flowers that you give to your mom. At least Phil came correct. He brought if I'm feeling a love and a passion towards you, I'm going to give you the red roses. If I want to honor you because you're the mother, you're this or that, I'm going to give you the white roses. If you're a friend and I just want to honor you, or you somebody want to honor, I'm going to give you the yellow roses. Colors matter, right? So shout out to Phil for at least understanding that assignment, right?
He understood the protocol.
He got the protocol. He got it down.
And Dad got a little something too.
Dad got a little bourbon.
So okay, so they're sitting down, and and the mom is asking true questions you would ask for any daughter, like, what is your goals? Are you broke? Look, do you got a savings account? Is there money in it? Do you have to transfer money from your savings to your checking to cover until the Friday?
You using that overdraft privilege in your account?
Like Kevin Hart says, what are we covering here? So,
well, his account was set up. He okay,
right? Sound like it because she started crying, like, "Oh, mom."
Yeah,
and you get it when you hear your parents' concern, right? Like, we know you're dating, and some of these dudes you're going with and not treating you right.
Yep.
And when your parents really like, I'm concerned. Yep. I want to make sure that this guy is right for you because I love you.
Right.
So you get to see that love between, her, Sydney's family and her.
Yes.
And what they want best for her. So.
Yeah. So, and then we have on the other side of town, on the other side of the Potomac, you got Dante and meeting with Aisha's mom, and the brother.
And the brother
just starts off. So I hear about your family.
Your extended family.
1, 2, 3.
Like it's polygamy. Like he got 3 women at home. Like you got 3 wives. You got sister wives. What we got going?
Right.
And so, but he was like, so he understands that this is a question. This is just a part of his life now.
Right.
He understands that this is what's going on. So, but we get to learn a little bit more, right? Everybody's respectful. He has kids by them, but 2 of his baby mamas are remarried.
Right.
And he said, we have a good relationship.
Yep.
And that's it. It's about the child.
Yep.
It's not about all other drama.
Nothing else going on.
There's nothing else going on here. I'm taking care of my business. I'm doing what I need to do.
Yep.
Because my question would be like, well, how much child support do you pay?
That's the question to ask.
It's like, are you getting it pulled from your checking account? Is it pulled out of your paycheck every 2 weeks? Or, do you still got enough money to eat after you pay for all 3 kids? Right. So those would be my questions.
Yeah, because it depends upon where he is, where the kids are,
right?
What the court order is.
What did the court say? When you pay one, your turn to have them. So there's a lot there. If you're really saying, I want to end up married with this person. Right. Now, if you're saying, I'm just going to casually date you, we're going to have a good time. I don't care.
And that's a good question, Britt. You picked up on that. He said them remarriage. So it says that they remarried. So was he married before? That's not something we've heard before. So I'm not sure if he actually was married before.
Because normally then you would say you were like, this is the person of divorce.
My ex-wife, right.
Right, my ex-wife is remarried.
Right.
But he's not calling them ex-wives.
Yeah, so whatever the relationship is or was at this point, it's at least seems to be healthy as far as the way he's describing it.
Correct.
It seems to be in a good space. And so the fact that he has, because I think early on we were saying that 3 kids and 3 different mothers could potentially be a red flag for some folks, right?
Correct.
But it sounds as if, hey, Michelle, Happy New Year. It sounds as if he's gotten that they're in a good space, right?
Correct.
And so there's a maturity to be handled there.
Right.
And so he's a little more free, I think.
Right.
To move forward with Aisha. So
right. He ain't hiding from this is what you say. He's not hiding.
If somebody pull out a clip of him on like couples court or bench or something like that, or
shut up.
or one of those other shows. If somebody pull out a clip, then we definitely will discuss it. But it seems to be everything seems to be working well.
Seems to be working. You know, he don't come out. There's no tire slash. He's never late. He seemed to be on time. He's calm when he shows up. So I feel like if it's working, then
it works.
You have to move on. It is his past.
Yep.
And I think sometimes people need to get over it. If he's mature, he's taking care of his business as a man and fathering these children, and they know they're there. You know what I'm saying? Like he's present in their lives. Right. Then I think we should just move on. Yeah. She has kids, you know. Right. Make it work.
Make it work. The mom, and this is again why I think that I don't particularly care for the family visits because the mom asks if they're moving too fast. Well, hold on. They're not getting married.
Right.
They're not, he's not about to propose.
Right. Right.
So they're moving fast enough that they've been in this process for a few weeks, right? A couple months.
Yeah.
And he's kind of saying, I want to maybe take it to the next level and be a little more serious with her. Right. But he's not asking for her hand in marriage. And I think that's the thing that for a lot of these family visits, it kind of gives that impression, right? Speaking of giving that impression, you got Moomin sitting down with one of her favorite uncles, her dad, and her older sister. And so we find out Frank is from Ghana.
From Ghana,
so, and we actually have a video that we did a couple of days ago off of the clip that Owen released. And so we have this conversation. The uncle is like, hey, you guys seem to be good.
Right.
Where is she in your pecking order?
Like,
and Frank.
He said them African fathers are different. I just can see them like around the fire, and I see like horsetail, like where is she in the pecking order? Is she high? Is she good? Where are we?
And Frank actually, in this conversation, he handles that question well.
Right. Really well, right? I have to give it to Frank. I feel my impression is that at least he's being honest. Right. You know, when he's talking about Moomin in this situation and where he feels like, okay, there is someone else. I understand when we're talking about coming to your father and them trying to understand, right? Because they like, okay, what's this process? How are you dating all these men? And what is this looking like? You know? So in some sense, they may understand it because in different cultures, they do kind of like choose for their daughters. Right. The men may have several options before they make the final decision.
Absolutely.
So it's just kind of funny, like you said, them having to meet the family.
Right. Now the sister, she starts to play Debbie Downer a little.
Yeah, she's like, let me.
She says no one compares to Moomin.
Right. That's a good sister. That's what I'm talking about. That's how
your sister ride or die for you. Cool.
Ride or die. Like, look, he shouldn't be looking at nobody else.
I get it. Gas her up a little more. It's okay. I got you.
Gas her up.
I hear you. In this, so yeah, I get it. I get it. It's what I would expect a sister to say. It's what I would expect somebody to say, right? I was just like, okay.
And then she was saying something else. I can't remember what she said. There was something else. She was like, yeah. She mentioned one other thing.
I forgot what it was. If you remember, let us know in the comments. But they at least were like giving their approval. They're like, okay, because he was honest. Right?
He was being honest.
The father was like getting clarity on how the process worked. Yes. He's like, okay, I can appreciate the honesty. So kudos to Frank for his honesty. You know,
I just need to start calling by his surname. I forget. He was mentioning what his name was in Ghana.
I'm not gonna make that attempt.
I was like, okay.
I'm not. He introduced himself to us as Frank, so we're gonna call him Frank. He introduced himself to Moomin's dad as something. I don't know. I'm not gonna mess it up. I was like, okay, I get you, but I'm gonna call him Frank. And then on the other side of town, Shiloh and Phil, we start to have this conversation now with Tommy.
Yeah, This is a very interesting meeting. Like we even shared in a previous video, you can check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And we understand that they go out and here's this conversation. It seems like every season we have someone who just, we have to know now.
They have to have the response now.
Immediately.
Because, you know, when they come in first,
the response, are you going to choose me?
Right. Because Shiloh comes in and you can tell she's just like, she's on the level, right?
Right.
Phil comes in and he's on the level too.
Right.
But their body language is just like, so, and Tommy's like, okay, why are we here?
Right.
And she kind of deferred to Phil to say what was happening. And so Phil is like, hey, we were in the club. Mm-hmm. We started having this conversation, and she's like, no, let me even go back to before that. Mm-hmm. She's like, we were at the retreat. I poured out my heart, said that I'm feeling him, that I choose him, what have you. And he kissed me, gave me a peck, and he hugged me, and physically I got the response I wanted. But then after I had a moment to think
and process on the way back,
he ain't really answered my question.
He didn't come up with it. He didn't come up with what I want to hear.
Right.
He didn't come up with what I want to hear.
Right.
So from there, right, as a woman's trying to process, okay, I done shared my heart. I was vulnerable to him. We spent the weekend together. We're driving back together. We arrived together. Mm-hmm. I want to know, am I the one?
Yeah.
And now they're in a situation where they've had some drinks. Phil is indicating there wasn't a lot of drinks on his end.
He says, I had one shot.
One shot. She said she had a drink or two. You know,
she didn't say how many she had.
She said drinks.
She said drinks were involved. Right.
She said drinks were involved, and they get in this conversation, and then all of a sudden, conversation goes sideways.
Because, you know, and Tommy even kind of says, wrong place,
wrong place,
wrong time,
wrong time.
You know, that's a conversation that you have where there's not liquor involved.
Right.
Or if there is, it's not a club situation, right?
Right.
That may be you have a glass of wine where you're sitting there having a meal or something like that. Right. That's where you have that conversation.
Yeah.
You don't have that conversation with Jodeci and whomever else playing in the background, right?
Right.
Yes, I dated myself. I did. Yeah, I ain't been to a club in a long time. But you don't do that in that type of environment. That's not where you have those conversations.
Right. But they did. And our understanding, even more thorough, is that she was walking down an alley in DC.
Now, good point, Mr. Rogers, biggest fan. Phil wasn't drunk, but Shiloh, in my opinion,
right,
she looked like she might have still had some of the ingredients in her when they had the conversation with Tommy. I think that she might have still been having a little of the after effects from the previous night and the alcohol tape.
True that.
All right.
But so she's walking down the alley and feels like, I wouldn't go down there as a grown black man. So why I'm going to let you go that direction, further down that direction where I don't even want to go? Because if I don't see you no more, I have to make a decision. Do I want to go down there to find you when you're who knows what? So the understanding is from their perspective is that he was trying to redirect her by picking her up and then letting her go the other direction towards the car.
Right.
So, and she's saying, oh, I could walk anywhere I wanted. I was fine to walk wherever I wanted. But he's like, you're going down an alley I don't want to go to. I know I've been down. I've seen some alleys. I didn't say I've gone down some alleys.
Now, we lived in PG County, right? Outside of DC.
I was born and raised outside of her. So even as a kid,
way outside
not
DC.
Way outside.
She was outside DC. She don't know about them DC streets.
I do. Whatever. We ain't going to even go there.
I'm going to just say this, though.
As a kid, when we had to go down an alley in a car, I wouldn't even want to go down it in a car, let alone someone walking down an alley.
I'm from Southside Chicago. There's not a whole lot that scares me. But there are some parts of some cities that I'm just like, y'all can keep that. I'm good.
Man.
Right? So I understand the streets, depending upon where they are in DC, them streets are not safe.
No.
Right?
No.
So
I get it. We have a clear understanding. He should not have put his hands on her. I think everyone understands that. She said, please don't touch me.
Yep.
I need my space. Got it. I don't know if he should have rope-a-dope her or kind of just used his body and like, no, and kind of just kept his hands out, got a couple of girls in the club say, hey, I need your help. Maybe they shouldn't have gone. I don't know.
Right.
He tried to do the best he can.
Right.
I understand. Don't put your hands on me.
So
okay.
Tommy's like this, and I think we're like this, is that we get both sides.
Tommy said, I got both sides.
I get that Phil is a protector. I think someone says that a little later on.
Right.
Phil is a protector. We first hear, before we really saw Phil, because remember, Phil was kind of like behind the scenes for the first few episodes. The first time we hear Phil's name ring out is he's helping Aisha with her car.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So Phil, every interaction that we've seen with Phil, not every interaction, but the impression that we can get of Phil so far is that Phil seems to be a stand-up guy.
Stand-up guy. When you need to call him, he's there. He'll help you, whatever you need.
Not asking for anything necessarily in return, trying to use it into a booty call, whatever. Not that we don't get that impression, right? So I get the desire to protect because it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Like someone said, what sober folks are out at 5 o'clock. So it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Listen, if you got a job, you're about to go home, crash for a moment, and get up in 2 hours so you can make it to your job. Granted, maybe it's for Friday, Saturday, what have you, but still, it's a whole new day.
Right.
Y'all went out to the club 10 o'clock. Now you're in a whole new day. And he's trying to at least say, can I get you home safely?
So at this point, Tommy is like, maybe you should try to resolve it. You seem like you still like each other. Can I get y'all to look at each other? Just look at each other in the face. Y'all both coming from different perspectives and see if you can reconcile.
Right.
Just try to reconcile.
Yeah.
So they look at each other, giving these looks like, he look up like,
feel like,
I don't even know, because I was trying to make a decision if I wanted to be with you, and I think you're making the decision for me.
Right.
And she like, you should have just never put your hands on me. I'm like, okay, but did you get his perspective?
Right.
And he asked, this was Tommy said, do you felt threatened? Do you feel like he was trying to physically hurt you? Because there's a very big difference.
Right.
So let's make sure we get this out of the way.
Because anytime you hear a person say they never should have put hands on me, the immediate thought is that it's in a violent, aggressive way.
Correct.
Right? Said Tommy being like,
okay.
Listen, he might have to do a.
Tommy does a pretty solid job.
But Tommy might have to do a crossover with Ayanla on some of this stuff.
He do a crossover.
Listen, because I think that someone else said, the trauma and even Shiloh talks about some things that she went through. I don't know that she was ready really for this show.
Well, we could get that to when we get to that next.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I get that. Yes, he should not have physically picked her up and pulled her away. I get that. I am completely understanding of that. On board with that. Yes, that's a boundary.
Don't take away from that.
But I don't want to demonize this man.
No.
For doing what he felt was the best thing given the circumstances, that she's drunk, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and she's going down an alley that I don't even want to take my worst enemy down because I'm afraid. It's Southeast DC. I don't like it. Right. So shame on Phil for doing that, but she has to own her part too.
Right.
And I don't know that she's owning her part.
Right.
I don't know that she's owning the fact that she was drunk and may not have been thinking clearly.
Right.
I don't think she's owning the fact that she's allowing her trauma to color how she views him and his interaction.
Well, we can.
Okay.
Go ahead. You want to talk about it now, or you want to go more?
Let's go. Let's go. All right.
Y'all. When he start using a lot of hands, that's when he upset.
Mr. Rogers Speaking fan says we got to pick a side. When we say we're the most unprotected, but he tried, and I felt that she exploited it to some degree. Girl, he made you feel unsafe emotionally.
Do we want to go in it?
Let's just go. Let's
get in it.
Let's dig into it.
Let's get in it.
Because then later on, she talks about that.
Because Phil and them meet, right?
Well, she meets with the ladies, right? They meet with the ladies' lounge.
Right.
And she tells the story. She gives a very sanitized version.
She does.
She basically is like, we were out, leaves out the fact that it was 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
We were out. He picked me up. I didn't want to put hands on me.
Right.
Doesn't also talk about the fact that they had a lot of drinks, all of that, right?
And she says she did not feel threatened physically.
Right.
And she mentions it twice. She's like, no. And then Sydney was like, oh my God, can I talk to him? Is that okay? Again, we want to validate feelings. We want to validate her experience. And I think the women did a good job of saying, we hear you. We are sorry about how this came down from your perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And Sydney's like, I do need to hear from Phil, his perspective.
Right.
But you can only give when someone based off of their truth.
Right.
And I appreciate women and how they handle it at that moment.
Right. Because initially, if you look at the body language, the ladies are like,
yeah.
Because it was surprising news, right? So when she at least did kind of give some more information, cool. Mm-hmm. But now when she has her meeting with Phil.
Yes, because now she's not talking to Phil at all.
Right.
Phil said, I'm trying to blow you up, blow your phone up, trying to call you. Let's have some kind of conversation before we even meet in person.
Here's me said, I live in Baltimore. That's another city that, listen, I'm from Southside Chicago.
Look.
Baltimore?
You walking down the street, down the sidewalk in Baltimore. You know, like, listen. I got a story about that. I had someone come up to my stepfather and say, I was supposed to kill you, but I didn't.
Listen.
On the sidewalk. We didn't even get to alley, so I don't mess with Baltimore.
Yeah.
Peace of love to all my Baltimore
all
folks.
y'all Baltimore people.
Love you.
Y'all. If you want to come out someplace more safe, Phoenix is okay. We good here.
Shoot.
But yeah.
Okay. But anyway, back to our story. So they meet. Mm-hmm. And they're talking, and you hear Phil say, I need to apologize.
Right.
I need to apologize.
Yep.
I'm looking from her perspective.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying, this is the thing I need to do. I need to apologize. So I'm like, okay, cool. He understands from her trauma, what she went through. And I don't know how much she expressed about that. Because it doesn't sound like that's something they had an opportunity to even talk about yet. And vulnerability. That's another thing. Here it is. He doesn't even know how bad your trauma was, but yet you want him to expect for him to be able to manage something you haven't been able to inform him of. Right. So, and then they get into it again.
And he asks the question, do you think I was trying to harm you? Mm-hmm. And her initial response was yes.
And he was
like, and we were like,
what? Huh? Because you just said that in the lounge.
Emotionally.
And then she goes, oh, I got to fix this because I just said yes. And I'm like, what is a man supposed to do with that? What do you mean emotionally? How was I trying to hurt you emotionally when I would love to give you space, but your space is leading into more danger? Now you're saying that you're traumatized by being a victim, and now you're about to become potentially another victim? Because that's what he was saying. He was saying, I was trying to keep you from going down someplace I didn't even want to go down, which could have been more traumatic in your life. That's going to last longer than me just picking you up for a few seconds and turning you the other direction.
So, because when I hear that he tried to hurt me emotionally, here's the thing. I think that we have to figure out what emotional hurt looks like, right?
Correct.
So if I'm thinking of someone that's making an effort, has the
doing on purpose, right?
Intentionally hurting me emotionally, that means that they're assailing my character, they're assailing my looks, they're assailing my personality. Correct. They're doing these things through their words, through their actions, what have you.
Right.
Phil didn't do any of that. In fact, I said Phil actually was trying to spare her emotional health.
Right.
He was trying to keep her emotionally okay by maybe not going too far the other side and not being open and honest with her and saying where she stood.
Where he stood with her.
Right. He was trying to spare her emotions by not telling her, you done slipped, girl. You number 2 now.
Right. But I see, and this is what I was sharing with you while we were watching it. The problem comes in is when people say that they've been abused, physically abused, emotionally abused. And when someone mentions that and then says that now you became a part of that, it's hard to have a very good conversation in the fact of, was I just like all of the other people who victimized you or treated you badly or physically abused you? Because you're putting me in a spot where I'm trying to make sure I validate your feelings.
Right.
But reality has to be, do I look just the same as other people that you said that has scarred you? You just said you had scars on your body that I am not aware of.
Right.
And now I'm trying to have a conversation with you, but you're still in your pain from your past. So it's like, so the problem is, first of all, when they had the initial conversation at the retreat, you put yourself out there and being vulnerable, but at the same time, were you trying to manipulate him? Like, I'm going to tell you how I feel so that you can now finally tell me that either you want me or not, because I'm telling you, I'm choosing you.
Right.
And then you still have an attitude about not getting your answer. Right. And then it keeps spiraling out of control. Yeah. So I'm just like, feels like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Because this is why I think, again, I think we are seeing these people based off of an hour of a TV show every week that has been edited. We follow them on Instagram just to kind of see what kind of things about them. But the sense that I get from Phil is that Phil is a stand-up guy.
Right.
Seems to be a solid guy.
Right.
So I can imagine, I just put myself in that position. If I'm in that position where, okay, maybe I did overstep a boundary.
Correct.
Which he acknowledges he did.
He acknowledges it.
But he's trying to explain why I felt in that moment.
Right. The best way.
It was the best with the information that I had available to me at the time.
Correct.
Why that was maybe the best thing to do. Now you're telling me that intentionally hurt.
Right.
What am I to do with that? And because now you're saying you don't want to hear excuses. I'm not giving you an excuse. I'm giving you a reason.
Right.
An excuse is different from a reason.
Right.
So,
only thing I can say again is that when people still trying to get to know you, they don't know your triggers.
Right.
And I think she should have gave him a lot more grace.
Absolutely.
Thinking like, we haven't been that vulnerable yet.
Right.
You didn't know that I had potentially, right? Because we don't know the depths. But she says that she has physical scars.
Right.
So I don't know if that was just one person, 2 people. We don't know. But the thing is, it doesn't sound like he knew. So why can't we give him a little grace?
Especially when you're an intimacy coach.
Again.
And here's the thing. One of the things we say when we pastor is,
check that other video.
Intimacy is into me, see. So she evidently did not do a good job of allowing him to see into her.
That's good.
So she has this wall, if you will. She has to heal this trauma.
She needs to heal it.
And there's nothing wrong with having to heal trauma. Absolutely. We all have trauma in some way, shape, or form that we need to heal, right? But I think she's at the point where she's deflecting it onto him.
She's projecting
it onto him. All the pain, all the other things that she's felt, she's putting it onto him as he's the cause of it. When all he did was do something that may have triggered a memory.
Right.
But when she looks at the full picture, it's not the same.
It's not the same. But when you're in the midst of it and you haven't maybe continually do with the work you need to do potentially, right? Because again, we only get half of a picture,
right?
Then you have to say, okay, I do see I may have had too much to drink. I do see that I was going into a dangerous area, and I was resisting him because I had too much to drink, and I'm upset, I'm mad, I got all these emotions that I'm trying to deal with. Then, okay, I get it. I see your point, and you hear my point.
Right.
Okay, I'm ready to move on.
Yep.
But if you're not, she was right in ending the journey, right? Because this may give her another opportunity, maybe where she thought, oh, I've grown so much, I'm ready for a relationship. But now I'm finding if someone does touch me in a way to protect me and I can't tell the difference, maybe I need to do some more work.
Right. Yeah, Phil was her teacher for this. There's the thing she's going to learn.
Yeah.
And I hope that things work out better.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But it was frustrating to watch. What at least you guys have known that watch us, you know, I was looking at them. I liked them together.
Oh yeah, I felt like they had the chemistry. They seemed to like really. I thought they were communicating well, but as we went along and it got further in the process, I see they weren't communicating well. Right.
Good point, Peace. She is focusing on him to pick her, but when Tyrone tried to do the same thing, he got sent home. Y'all remember Tyrone was like, he was cutting folks. He was like, look, I got a plane with 3 people on it right now.
Yes, he did.
And right now, Shiloh is in first class. The rest of y'all in coach, and some of y'all are riding shotgun back with the beverage cart.
Yep. And she's like, oh no, I'm not finished with my journey. I'm seeking something else out. And that might have been a better person for her in the sense of where they were, as you know, him facing certain things, her moving in the area where she could give him a little peace and needed some peace. So I'm thinking maybe you overlooked something that was good for you from the beginning.
Yep.
That's good.
Brett said Phil does not want a relationship. Sydney is easy to be with. I agree with that. I agree with that.
I agree with that because we talked about Sydney being candy, didn't we? In our last episode, that you know it's so easy. You know, she light on the eyes. It takes care of what we want at the time. Right. So,
you know, and so that's a good segue because yes, the other person that Sydney is connecting with at least is Frank. And it was interesting for me to watch, whereas Phil got the date with
the parents.
Frank got the date with the sister.
Well, and the way Sydney explains it is that Frank is a people person. So I think she felt maybe the sister could come on a little bit more stronger and really try to dig into Frank, where her mom and stepfather might have been more like, oh, he's such a cool guy, blah, blah, blah. And I think the sister, she arose to the occasion, right?
Because she asked the question about, is there another person? And Frank,
this one tripped me out.
Go ahead, yeah.
No, go ahead.
It was Frank fumbled the response. Yeah. I mean, he literally was like, it was just like
maybe because
the way he gave the answer to Moomin's parent or dad and uncle, it was like stand-up answer, very clear, very concise, very honest. Cool. It was like she asked the question, and all of a sudden, every thought he had went out the door, and he was like, so I really want to kind of continue with this with you.
Maybe because Sydney wasn't sitting down and Sydney breath in his eye line, and that's why he couldn't talk right.
He had a piece of that baby hair stuck in his eye or something like that. I don't know.
It was like, what's happening to you, Frank? Why don't you say you have 2 people that you're interested? Because it took him like a couple of minutes to get that out to indicate that he had another interest to the sister. And like, it was like he was feeling like she was breaking up with him and he was trying to recover. I was like, Frank, what are you doing? Like, I want you to still be, what? What are you, what?
I get it. Frank didn't have his drink.
Frank, he did have a drink in front of him. Frank did have a drink in front of him.
Water.
He had water.
Frank did not have that answer to calm him down.
I don't know. He fumbled. He really did.
Big time.
And I don't understand why. And it's very interesting because Frank, when he talked about Sydney coming into her place, he talked about her outside. He talked about how attractive she is. She looks like a model, blah, 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 blah. When he talks about me, it's totally different.
Right.
It's more like family and gathering and blah, blah, blah.
So yeah, Sydney is the eye candy of what's the ladies that are still there. She's the eye candy. I've said this from the beginning. No diss against her, what have you. I just don't feel that she has the substance. Maybe that some of these, and again, this is all just speculation, all just kind of editing, all that. I don't know that she has the substance. She comes off a little different to me. Some of y'all might be able to put it into words that I may want to kind of keep to myself right now. But
only thing I can say is she and the sister, Sydney and the sister, feel like they may be twins in the sense of they think alike. They like,
as far as Frank and Sydney,
like, yes. Hey, they have, their nightlife of how they work and blah, blah, blah. And maybe they're friend zone. Because even Sydney and the sister was like, well, you don't sound like overly thrilled or overly attracted or,
Jacob.
So with that being the case, she's like, oh my God, am I friend zoning him? Should he be just a good friend?
Yeah, because remember, they at least knew of each other,
right,
in the circles, right? So for them, this might just be, I've kind of known of you. Right. I found you attractive. This is an opportunity to investigate it.
Right.
But it's also then the case is, well, if you kind of knew each other and were attracted, why didn't you investigate before?
Exactly.
So hope those questions came up off camera. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know that I don't know that Sydney has the depth. I'll be quiet. I don't know if she has the depth to ask those questions.
I don't know. I just feel I'm gonna move on.
Move on.
Yeah. I'm just gonna feel that Frank needs to make a decision if he wants to marry and settle down, because Moomin has already indicated she's celibate.
Yep.
But she don't want to be celibate forever.
Right. And Frank is hypersexual.
That's what he said.
That's what he says.
And so he has to make a decision. Can I wait for her?
Right.
And then in 6 to 9 months, can I commit and get married?
Right.
Because maybe like, I ain't trying to wait to have sex with her. We're not
gonna be dating for 8 years.
Right.
And engaged for 5.
Right.
That ain't happening.
That's not happening. So that's where his decision is.
And Moomin's dad ain't gonna allow that to happen.
No.
Moomin's dad looked like look.
You're gonna have to make a decision. Because if not, I got a chicken foot and I got some herbs.
Stop.
Put together.
Listen.
You don't want to be cursed.
You're gonna have Frank saying, look, Frank gonna make that decision quickly.
He gonna make it quick.
So
who else do we have?
And then Walter and Sabrina.
Yes. All the other drama have been going on. They've been a little chill. So she has her cousin come or zoom in from New York. Again, Sabrina's very decisive. Like she's like, I'm gonna call you ahead of time. So then all the questions I want you to ask him, you can get the answer for me, girl. So she's like, okay, I'll do this. But again, she's not understanding, like, Walter was married, a widow,
right?
And she had concerns. This is more about her self-esteem,
right?
Because Sabrina's like, well, you dated all these young women. I'm older or around the same age as you.
I think she's a year or two older than him.
Yeah, it's not a big difference to make.
Right.
And so he goes, well, if my wife was still alive,
she'd be your age.
She would be your age, and we'd have still been together. So even though a man may have or prefer someone younger when he's dating,
right,
doesn't mean that he may not settle.
And he makes
I don't mean the word.
He makes a statement about her getting his pop culture references. I'm like,
I would assume would be from his decade, from when he went.
And here's the thing. I mean, for us, like with our kids, I am more aware of what's happening as far as pop culture with our kids. So me and our kids, we can say stuff, and she's like, huh?
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we can't communicate. We're still like when I said Jodeci earlier, she knew what I'm talking about, right? So
So I'm concerned for Sabrina if she really thinks that Walter's into her.
Yeah.
Because she mentioned she feels like those are red flags, that she don't think that she's the constellation prize.
And I think, and that's a good Myra, good point. The season was all about trying to make it to the end. That's what this season, I think, has, or really this show in some respects, has become. This one really feels like everybody was just like, let me find somebody to make it to the end. Because now we have Aisha and Dante, who just came up very recently.
Yeah, just recently.
And they're building. So, okay, I get that. They're building. Walter, I think, in all honesty, I think that based upon how things went, I think Sabrina became more of Walter's consolation prize than his choice, right? Because when Moomin walked off, you remember he was like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
Right.
So I look at those two. Frank is at least trying to make a decision of which one he goes to the end with.
That's true.
But he has two very different choices, right?
He does.
And likewise on Phil's side, Phil is having a decision made for him because Shiloh's pulling out.
Right.
But I don't know that there's a full connection for ready for love. And granted, I recognize and we know this is not ready to get married.
Correct.
Right. But there's still, in previous seasons, there's at least been, you see that there's a connection that has been building and growing. And by the time we get to the end, it's like, okay, this is the obvious choice for the next step. Right. Well, even though the relationships afterwards haven't really worked out.
And we talked about this season and how we was concerned about how the editing was going, because it was just like, okay, are they not meeting or getting a chance to date or whatever? And we were kind of concerned that it seemed like the editing kind of changed a little bit, where it's not really showing the good progression of how these people are coming out to the relationship. Because you have to also think there are several people that bowed out. Like my person's here no longer here.
So we had,
this is the highest I've seen that bowed out. So like, hey,
you had Camille and her 14 personalities bow out.
Shut up.
You had Naeem bow out because Zadia didn't get in his face. And then now you have Shiloh bowing out, right? So you had three people bowing out. So yeah. So being from the DMV, it's difficult dating above 35. We don't know, because when we lived there, we were already married, so we weren't dating. We're not into that life. But
I'm gonna take your word for it, Michelle.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that, and one of the things that we've just seen from people that we've seen or that we know, just not in the DMV, but people that we knew when we lived in Tulsa and even here in Phoenix, is that, like you said, Brett, anywhere after 35, the pool kind of shrinks, just because a lot of times people have already gotten married or they have kids and all these things. So now, the availability that might have been there when you were 20, 22, 25 may not be there when you're 35.
Or if everybody over 35 is dating 22-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and people are trying to think of, I'm trying to get someone who don't got as much baggage as I'm going to carry after 35.
Right. I already got 10 bags myself. I don't need you to have another 30 bags alongside me.
But at the same time, you would think that people will want to be like, I'm at a place where I'm mature. I'm hoping you're mature. I'm hoping you got land, you got a house, I got a house, that we can make things work better because now we understand how life works.
Right.
You know, because in my 20s and my 30s, I was just like, I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah, you were.
And I'm shut up. And I'm not going to be frustrated trying to date at 47 for someone who don't have things figured out.
Yeah.
And I know some 40 people don't have things figured out, but it is what it is.
Jacob, we're going to be praying for you.
Oh, Jacob's trying to find someone?
Yeah, he's 35 right now, so we're going to be praying for you.
Yeah, 35, man. Look, get you on Ready to Love, get your bio, your profile, what not to do.
Okay.
We can coach them so we can get them on the show.
Listen. Yeah, so there were no eliminations this week.
No.
Fools be out there. I listen. Okay, so for those of you all that don't know, aside from doing this phenomenal job that we do here on YouTube as Conversations with the Crawleys, we also are pastors. So we hear the stories. We know the stories.
Crazy stuff.
That we've said we couldn't be out there right now. So those of you all that are out there and dating and trying to find love, listen, you have our utmost respect, our utmost best wishes and prayers.
Yes.
Just because we hear just a sampling of the stories of stuff. Who was it? One person that my wife knew, we knew the both persons, but the guy had just put on Facebook that he had a baby, and then was going on a blind date with one of her young ladies that she mentors. Dude, give it a breast. give it a little break. He's posting on there, oh, my new baby, da da da. All right, I'm going out for a date now. It's basically what happened. So
anyhow, I don't know how we got there, but
well, Britt said that this fool be out there, and it's we've heard, we know.
Woo.
So no eliminations this week.
No elimination. It is.
Isn't it?
No. Yeah, but we're gonna see what's gonna happen next week, right?
Yeah.
Because they have to make a decision.
And right now it looks like, if we're honest, I think that yes, they are going to basically have them meet with their best persons or their best friends, whatever, bring them to the people that are most important in their life. But we've got basically, I know they try to get down to 3, but we've got 4 couples right now. 4 couples. And so now, we know the final 8 people, the final 4 couples. And we know that basically it's just a matter of who's asking the question and who's going to move forward. Right. I actually think that everybody's going to move forward with whom they choose to move forward with. But they're not going to be together at reunion. Yeah, at reunion. They're not going to be together at the reunion. All right, so here's our predictions. You let us know what you think, because here's my prediction. I think that, just running down the couples, I think that Aisha and Dante will want to move forward. Okay. I think that they may still be, by the time we get to the reunion, I think they still may be together. Okay. I think that they'll still be moving forward, progressing. I don't know that they'll be fully there, but I think they'll be progressing. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're giving predictions. And shout out to Jacob's mom getting remarried in her 60s. That's right. Hang in there. So, hold on. Because Myra said, trying to find love in your 50s is rough. I've already, listen, if something were to happen to one of us, if something were to happen to her, I don't know that I'd have to really think about whether or not I wanted to be married again. You would get remarried. Yeah, but I mean, if we can just be honest, I'd have to look outside of Phoenix. Or just because, I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I don't think I would get remarried. It's too much work. Because you can't replace me. That's why. Exactly, babe. That's it. I get it. You can't replace me. All right. Anyway. But Britt says she's got a dog. Happiest she's ever been. Listen, hey, whatever makes you happy. Whatever makes you happy. So I think that Aisha and Dante will say yes to each other. I think they'll be together at the reunion. Because I think that Aisha wants love.
Oh, yeah.
I think Dante wanted to. I just think that they're going to have to grow together because their relationship came up kind of quickly.
Right.
So
right. And so from infatuation to really establishing a relationship. So we'll see.
Thank you, Michelle. All right. And then on to Walter and Sabrina.
I don't think they're going to make it.
So looking at Instagram right now, she's still throwing up some kissy emojis on Walter. So
maybe
at this present time, it seems like they may still be okay.
Okay.
Of the couples, they're the ones that probably built the longest, even though we didn't see their full journey. Because Sabrina was absent for like several episodes, right?
Yeah.
So I think Walter and Sabrina will be okay, and I think we'll still see them okay at the reunion. Okay. I think that Phil is going to go with Sabrina.
Phil's going to go with who?
Not Sabrina. I'm sorry.
Sydney.
Yes.
Okay.
Phil's going to go with Sydney.
Whoa, you trying to topple it?
Listen. This is Married at First Sight. We're just going to switch up everybody. But Phil is going to be with Sydney. Rumors I'm hearing is that they're still together right now to this day.
Who?
Phil and Sydney.
Oh, okay.
So I think that they'll be together at the reunion. I think the reunion is going to be crazy. Like who is it? Brett said, yeah, the reunion is going to be fire because we're going to dig into that. They're going to dig into that Shiloh situation. So they probably going to spend a whole episode.
So do you think Tyrone going to try to reapproach Shiloh? Because you've seen them do that, right? Like they'll like
Tyrone shoot a shot again.
Right. Like y'all still feeling each other. Maybe y'all should get together. I mean,
if I was Tyrone, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either, unless she's decided to put in a little bit more work.
Yeah, because she need. If I'm Tyrone and I'm seeing what I've seen, if I could, because he wouldn't have seen this by the time reunion. But if he's staying in connection with the fellas and he hears about this situation, Tyrone, don't do it, bro.
Yeah, he may not.
Let her heal.
Yeah.
Give her time to heal.
Yeah, be that
friend. And then after she's healed, then have the conversation with her. And then that leaves who? That leaves Frank and Moomin.
Yep.
I don't think they're going. I think they'll say yes to each other there, but I don't think they'll be together at reunion.
Because if he's not ready to get married, that won't work.
Yeah, and I think Moomin's dad would have kind of nipped that in the bud too, a little early. Be like, nah, bro, that ain't the one. Britt said Tyrone will have a dissertation. That's about right, because Tyrone will write a thesis paper on why you are the one for him.
Tyrone was out somewhere in the middle of Kansas by himself. I saw him on his Instagram live. I'm like, dude, he got up and just drove. So I don't know.
Yeah, Camille and Cornelius have been posting on IG. Here's my thoughts on Camille and Cornelius. I'm wondering, because there have been rumors that there was a couple. Let us know if you've heard this one. But there's rumors been going around that there's a couple that was kind of already together before they came on Ready to Love. I think Camille and Cornelius may have been that couple. Just because.
Then why are you on the show? For what? What are you selling?
Her acting skills.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Because, I mean, their relationship was weird, period. The fact that she was like from initial get-go that was her man, and everybody respected that. Because all the other ladies kind of did not really make a play for Cornelius. He went on a date or two here and there, but nobody ever was like, I really want to invest, at least what we saw, I really want to investigate Cornelius. A couple ladies were like, because who was it? Zadia that said, but then we find out that Zadia and Camille are like besties. So I don't put a whole lot of credibility on Zadia saying that she was trying to check for Cornelius when she had that time with him. So I'm of the mindset that they may have been together before they came on the show.
I guess we'll find out.
So
okay.
Yeah, Courtney did try. She did try a little, but I don't know that Courtney really put forth the full effort um, of really showing her. Because remember, Courtney was also trying to feel. She was feeling on, not feeling on, but she was feeling. Was it Walter that she was feeling too?
I think so. I think it was Walter, maybe.
So, and then don't forget at the reunion, we're gonna have probably conversation with Corey. One date king, first date king.
Oh God.
Second date joker.
Yes.
Yeah, they did. Oh, first of all, real quick, Happy New Year to all y'all folks in the Central Time Zone. So like Chicago, Dallas, all y'all folks that are watching from the Central Time Zone. Happy New Year. Y'all have crossed over.
Crossed over.
I see you at the crossroads.
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah, we ain't seeing that. Right. But yeah, see y'all on the other side. I know y'all have already crossed over to the new year, to 2022. Check it out for us. Let us know if anything happens crazy over there.
Any other variants out there? Would be aware of?
Listen. But yes, we're going to have Corey come. Corey will be at the reunion, of course, and I'm sure they'll have conversations about his whole process, which
hasn't changed, I don't think.
Shout out, peace. You're in Nashville. Happy New Year to you.
New Year's. That's it.
That's it for this. But we are we're gearing up because Married at First Sight is another show that we do reviews on. And so that's going to be, our dog's going crazy. That's going to be a new season starting with that. So that should always be interesting. And we'll have reviews on that. But we'll see. It's too early to kind of predict on the reunion special just yet.
Right, until we get some more clips on that. So,
but yeah.
Well, Happy New Year's, everyone. Don't forget to check us out. Also follow us on IG.
Yes.
Make sure you're sharing, you subscribing.
And again, we appreciate you guys. You guys have been amazing. We started our channel in depth last year with Ready to Love. Ready to Love was the first show that we started doing. We've been watching it since the beginning, but that third season was the one that we decided, hey, let's start to do reviews. And if you go back and watch some of our old videos, we're in the same room that we were in. We just kind of changed it around, figured out some things as far as how to present it better. But you guys have been around. Some of you have been around from the beginning. Others of you have come along. So you guys have been a great support to us. And it's been great interacting with you guys in the comments. And hopefully you guys you guys do keep coming back. So we appreciate your support, appreciate you all coming through and hanging out with us as we do some of these reviews and commentary. Let us know what else you kind of want to hear from us. There are some, we try and stick, as far as our shows, we try and stick with kind of the same type of romance, love shows. I know I watch like Love and Marriage, Huntsville. She doesn't particularly care for that one.
It's too much drama.
Too much drama for her. There is a new one, Love and Marriage DMV, that's about to come out.
Oh, really?
So we may check it out. Just see, maybe do a first season, see how that goes. We'll see. But Married at First Sight, put a ring on it. That's coming back for a third season at some point. So that's another show. But then also we have videos on relationship tips. So we try to draw on our 25 years of marriage and relationships.
Yep. All right.
Love y'all.
Peace.
Have a good one. We'll see y'all next time. Be blessed.